What's going on, everybody? In today's video, I want to talk to you about how to get better at sales as a beginner for your marketing agency. Let's go.
I pull up, you know I be moving, whipping the foreign, I'm cruising, the money I'm speaking is fluent, all of my business booming, stacking my cash in abundance, all of my family funded, finally got what I wanted, life is amazing, I love it, everyone know that I run it, yeah.
All right, what's up, everybody? In today's video, as I said, I'm going to talk to you about step-by-step the things you need to be doing in order to drastically improve your sales ability as a beginner so that you can start closing more deals for your agency, signing more clients, and growing your revenue. So I have some notes here, so if I'm looking this way, that's why. Step number one, guys, is I think what not enough people talk about when it comes to getting better at sales is that the way you look at sales and the sort of the mental frameworks and the narratives that you have around sales will dictate how fast you progress, if you progress at all, and ultimately if you can become good at sales. Now, let me explain. So a lot of people that I talk to, especially agency owners and even our clients when they start working with us, they have this narrative around sales and this kind of like negative connotation around sales, that it's this like weird thing and it's slimy, it's dirty, it just doesn't feel very good. And to be fair, a lot of that comes from seeing the way people sold back in the day, the whole like used car dealer thing. So it's a fair sort of narrative, but at the same point, sales has changed quite a bit over the last 10, 20, 30 years. And the way people sell now has drastically changed, and because the way people buy is different. And so what that means for you is you've got to start to change that narrative. Because the reality is, guys, if you call it sales, if you call it effective communication, if you call it persuasion, whatever you want to call it and name it, sales is ultimately the greatest skill you can ever possess as a human being, no matter what you decide to do, whether it's trying to grow your marketing agency, whether it's trying to get a job. Like, if you have a technical skill, people are always like, I'm a technical person. I'm not a sales type of person. Well, if you're a technical person and you have this technical skill that you're really good at, how do you expect to go and sell that skill to a company? Like, how do you expect to get work? Whether you're selling yourself to a company or you're selling yourself to prospective clients, like, you're ultimately always going to have to sell in some way, shape, or form, whether it's selling yourself, selling an idea, selling a vision. If you're a leader of a company, of a group of people, whatever it is, you're always selling. Now, again, you can replace that word selling or sales with effectively communicating. That's what I prefer to call it, because that's really what it is, guys. Sales is ultimately, at the end of the day, being able to effectively and powerfully communicate to other human beings in a way that's compelling, in a way that gets them to buy in and ultimately do something that is what's best for them, right? Because you can be compelling and persuasive and really good at communicating, but if you use it for bad and to convince people to do things that aren't what's in their best interest, then of course that's not what we're talking about here. And if that's what you want to do, then jump off this video, because this is not for you, okay? This is for the good-hearted people that want to actually make a difference, make some money, and help other people do the same. So that's step number one. That's like step before number one. That's the prerequisite, guys. It's change the narrative that's running in your head around sales. Look at it as the opportunity to change people's lives through the ability to effectively communicate. And so that leads me into really step number one with getting better at sales as a beginner, which is do not look at getting better at sales as how do I, come up with the best lines? How do I get the best like closing lines or the best words to say, or the little like crafty wordplay segments that I can use to manipulate somebody's mind and NLP and all this stuff, right? That's not what you want to focus on. What you want to focus on is how do you become a better communicator? All right, guys, that is really what it is. And so the things you want to be building when you're trying to get better as a communicator are things like your tonality. How are you speaking when you're talking to another person? Pacing. How fast are you speaking? Obviously, what you're saying is important, but how you say it is just as, or if not more important than the words that are coming out of your mouth. Even more important, guys, is how good of a listener are you? Because if you look at the people that are truly highly proficient at sales, they're the best listeners. The best listeners. Because when you're able to listen at a high level and really like take in what somebody's telling you and process it and look at it as an input, and let's say you're the machine and what the person's saying on the other side is the input, your ability to create effective outputs, meaning questions, things that you say after that, depends on your ability to listen. So you need to become better at listening. And this is a skill that you practice in day-to-day life, guys. That's the beautiful thing about sales. You can get better at it every single day, incrementally, get a little bit better until, 3 months, 6 months, in a year, you're a totally different person. Like, guys, this is all coming from my personal experience, by the way. If you're watching this right now on Facebook or even more specifically on YouTube, you can go back on my channel and see the older videos from probably 2-3 years ago at this point. You listen to the way I communicated then, it's vastly different than the way I communicate now because I worked at it every single day. And it's a little bit that goes a long way over time. It's kind of like the compound effect, right? So every day you can practice these skills of listening, right? Working on your tonality. Sorry guys, I got a little bit of sniffles right now. Working on your tonality, slowing down the way you talk, because usually talking slower pulls people in versus talking fast tends to push people away. Generally speaking, if you ever are going to buy something and the salesperson's talking really, really fast and blah, 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 and they're just like yapping, you kind of just get turned off. You don't even want to listen to them. But when somebody speaks really slowly and they've got pauses in between their words and everything feels very connected and grounded, like I'm doing right now, you're naturally more pulled in. You want to hear the next thing I'm going to say. So it's little things like that, guys, that again, you can practice every single day. Let me just check my notes here. Oh, another thing I want to touch on, guys. If you're new to sales, and if you're new in the agency space and maybe you haven't worked a sales job before, you've never really sold anything in your life, instead of doing what most people do, which is they get like afraid, they're like, oh man, well I'm new, so this is just going to be a long road and this sucks because this is going to be a lot of work. Instead, look at this as a fantastic opportunity because it means that you get to build your sales skill set and your communication skill set without building any bad habits. So a lot of people, especially people that come in as clients of ours, they'll already have been working on their agency or they already have worked a sales job and stuff, and they've got these just bad habits, quite frankly. They've got these habits of interrupting people when they speak, or of not really listening, or of talking too fast and things like that. And we have to take some time to fix those bad habits and kind of fully correct them before moving on to building new ones. But if you're new, you don't have that issue. So you can build on basically a fresh blank slate. You can build just this weaponized toolkit, if you will, of your sales ability. So again, guys, the narratives, the things that you think about sales will influence and dictate how good you get at it and how long it takes you to get good at it. So yeah, we talked about tonality, pacing when you're speaking, the listening, that like this stuff is crucial, guys. I wish somebody would have told me this when I started, because when I started, guys, I was still working a full-time sales job while I was trying to grow my agency. And even when I was working that sales job, I didn't get a ton of sales training like I'm giving to you guys right now. So I had to figure a lot of this stuff out on my own. Let's see here. Okay, this is the last point that I'm gonna hit on, and this is huge. This kind of ties into what I was saying before about pacing on your sales calls. So whenever you're having a sales conversation, you're on a sales call with a potential client, business owner, obviously, one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you guys is to slow the fuck down. Slow down, okay? One of the most detrimental errors that I see a lot of agency owners making, especially newer ones, and even existing ones, to be honest, these problems persist in all facets, or in all different types of agency owners. New experience doesn't really matter, from what I've seen. They rush through their sales conversations and they just fire away question, kind of almost mindlessly, just waiting for that one time to just drop an offer. And so you rush through and you just ask a bunch of your questions, and you don't really ask too many follow-up questions. You don't listen too well to what your prospects are telling you. You don't give them feedback on how they're thinking about their situation, etc. And you just boom, and you just, here's the offer. 20-30 minutes in, boom, here's what we do, here's how much it costs. And you're just like anticipating that moment. And so guys, that will be one of the biggest really just killers of your sales calls and ultimately your ability to make money and sign new clients for your agency, because sales is the bloodline of your agency. And so anything that's going to kill your sales ability will kill your business. It's just the truth. So slow down, guys, please. Do not feel the need to rush. Now, a lot of people will go and do this, and then they'll get in a situation where a prospect is trying to rush them through a call. Now, I actually have another video on the channel here about that. Like if a prospect is really just pressuring you about, hey, can you just tell me what you do? Can you just tell me the price? Blah, blah, blah. Just want to fire through the stuff that they want to get to, and they don't care about your process. Go watch that video. I believe it's called How to Avoid Your Sales Calls from Turning into a Job Interview. Something along those lines. It's on the channel here. It's public. You can go and watch it. So guys, again, I know this was a bit of a longer video than what we've been doing recently, but this is so important. And honestly, I can go on for hours and hours and hours talking about this sales stuff. So I didn't want to make this too long. I want to condense it and just give you guys 4 to 5 really solid starting points for yourself. So take these, watch this video as many times as you have to. I'll leave a link below to a free training that my partner Brian and I put together, basically walking through how our agency partners right now are still signing clients. And if you're watching this, right now it's it's late March 2020. There's obviously a lot of stuff going on in the world. So it's never been a better time to be an agency owner. I just made a video about this a couple days ago. You can watch that as well. And that's all I got for you guys today. And I'll see you in the next video. I hope this helped. Peace.